Hello and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. I figured to start this channel off and introduce myself a little bit, I would do the Booktube Newbie tag, which I've seen floating around on here a few times. So the first question on this tag is, why did you start your YouTube channel? So I've been making book content for about 3 years now, primarily on my TikTok, which is at readingwithmegs. But ever since I started my TikTok, I knew that at some point I wanted to start a YouTube channel. It was just a matter of waiting for the right time. And I knew I wanted to start a YouTube channel because I really wanted to be able to extend the community that I found on BookTok to here, meet some new people, find some new recommendations, and also make some longer form content because I ramble so much. I always find it hard to edit my TikToks down to a suitable TikTok length. So I'm looking forward to being able to create longer reviews, longer wrap-ups, and just some longer form content. I also think this is actually the perfect time for me to start my YouTube channel, as I have just finished my undergraduate degree, which is kind of special for me because I actually started my TikTok account in the summer after my A-levels, so to now start my next channel in the summer after my undergraduate just feels quite fitting and almost full circle. So the next question is, what will you bring to Booktube? And a really important thing for me on my BookTok, and which will continue on my Booktube, is recommending and uplifting the voices of LGBTQ+ authors, because I am a lesbian, so most of the books I read are LGBT books and primarily sapphic books. And recommending those books is just really important for me. I really love reading those books and finding myself in those books. So you can expect a lot of sapphic book recs on this channel. I'm also starting a master's in September, which is really exciting, and I would like to incorporate some master's university content into my book content as well, so there's something else. The next question is, why do you love reading? And I have loved reading for as long as I can remember, and I know it's such a stereotypical answer, but I really just love and value the escapism that it brings me and the comfort and the joy, both in terms of escaping into a book, but also through the community and the friendships that I've found through reading both online and in real life. Particularly at university, I met a lot of my close friends through our joint love of reading, and it's just the connection that reading can bring, which really means that it will always be something that I love. So the next question is, what got me into reading? And as I mentioned before, I have loved reading for as long as I can remember, so it's quite hard to pinpoint one specific thing that got me into reading. But I know that my parents are both avid readers, and they did encourage my love of reading from a young age. And throughout my life, there have been so many books that have got me further into reading. When I was a kid, I loved the Percy Jackson series, kind of still do. When I got a bit older, the Divergent, Hunger Games dystopia craze, I was so into that. I had one of the Instagram editing accounts and everything. As a teenager, I loved Holly Bourne's books, and just books like that have had a real impact on me growing up just continue to make me love reading and I guess got me further into reading. This feels like such a long time to be talking to a camera. I don't feel like I'm used to this. The next question is, what challenges will I face in starting a booktube? And I think for me, the big thing is going to be time management. So as I mentioned earlier, I am starting a master's degree in September, which I am so excited for. I love studying, I love university, I can't wait to get back to it. But I am aware that at undergrad, in busy times, there were points where I struggled to even maintain posting on my TikTok account, let alone sitting down to make a YouTube video. But I think it will be okay, I'm not too worried. We're just going to keep this channel nice and chill, nice and relaxed. We're not rushing to read 50 books a month here. We're taking it slow, taking it at my own pace, and if there are some months where I read less because of my master's degree, that's okay. We're just going to take it as it comes. The next question is, where do I read? And honestly, I read anywhere. I have a book on me almost all the time. I love reading in the sun during the summer. I absolutely love reading on trains. There's just something about it which I particularly enjoy. But I think I do most of my reading just in my bed in the evenings. But honestly, basically the only place that I will not read, and purely because I can't read, there is in the car or on buses. It just doesn't work with me. And finally, what type of books do I like to read? So my favourite genre is without a doubt fantasy. Most of the books I read are fantasy books. I just love it with all my heart. And as I mentioned earlier, I read a lot of sapphic books, so I'd say my top genre is sapphic fantasy. I absolutely love authors like Samantha Shannon and Sarah El-Arifi, and the Locked Tomb series, which is a sapphic and just generally LGBT sci-fi fantasy series, is probably my favourite book series of all time. I cannot recommend it enough. I also like some contemporary lit fic, particularly sapphic contemporary lit fic, surprise, surprise. Julia Armfield and Emily Austen are some of my favourite ever authors. I love their books so much. And I particularly love dark academia as a subgenre. I'm obsessed with it. Anything that is dark academia or dark academia-esque, I'm there. I'm reading it. But no, honestly, I'm not that picky when it comes to my reading. I have my favourite genres, I have my favourite tropes, my favourite subgenres, but generally I'll pick up anything. I don't really read non-fiction, although it is something that I'd like to get more into. And I'm very picky with my romances, and I wouldn't say I'm that much of a romance fan, but when a romance is done right, I'm so there for it. So yeah, that was my Booktube newbie tag, my kind of introduction to Booktube. I really hope you'll stick around and see what's next for this channel. I'm anticipating that I'll primarily be posting reviews and recommendations, monthly wrap-ups, that sort of thing, but also with some hauls and maybe some vlogs thrown in there. And yeah, I can't wait to see where this takes us. Thank you for watching!